I have one final question for you. It's Olympia related, and because I think you're the perfect person to answer this because you emigrated from Iran back in the Ayatollah Khomeini takeover days. Hadi Choopan took third place at the Olympia. He struggled for 2 years to get into the United States. I personally never thought it was going to happen. We had the travel bans and this and that. There's a widespread concern among the bodybuilding world. He's got millions of fans. Primarily it used to be in the Middle East, but especially once he came and won a couple shows. Canada he won, and then he did the Olympia, got third. He's a huge fan base now in the bodybuilding world, and there's a concern that he's not going to be allowed back here for the Mr. Olympia because of the current political situation between U.S. and Iran. So, what do you think the odds are of Hadi getting some sort of special waiver or permission to return to the U.S. this September to compete?
So my answer would be the leadership team at Mr. Olympia needs to have the right contacts at the White House or in DC to be able to help that become a reality, okay? And there has to be a certain way to sell it, to know that Iran gets a lot of love, to know that a bodybuilder representing Iran has a shot at winning Mr. Olympia. That takes lobbying, that takes the idea of having some people on the inside, and that takes selling it to Iran for Iran to say, yes, we have one of the best bodybuilders in the world, because Iran likes that. You have to understand the motivation has to be from Iran's end. What matters to Iran? Iran loved it when they produced incredible wrestlers and they go to the Olympics and they would win. Iran loves it when they would send people and they would do fencing or they would do taekwondo. They've always been very good in taekwondo. I got some very good friends that are eight-degree black belt who are instructors and who fought. So you have to look at it from Iran's perspective, and you have to look at it from contacts that you have at the White House in politics to help make that become a reality. But the part I will say about the guy, I watched his interview when he won. I don't know who interviewed him, but he had a translator with him, and they said, so what does it feel like to know that you won and you're the people's champion? You didn't win the whole thing, but you won the people's champion. What does it feel like for you? And his answer was fascinating when he said, for me, it means a lot to know that I won people's hearts, not a trophy, because a trophy is going to sit on the shelf and collect dust. But when you're in people's hearts, that lasts a lifetime. So he's the type of a guy in the brand that I want to lift up. I want to lift up because there's ties to politics and Iran and stories. These are the types of stories I want to make in the media. These are the opportunities I have for Mr. Olympia to be written about in Wall Street Journal, in New York Times, in LA Times, in New York Post, Washington Times, in a story like this. But again, you gotta work on this one to be able to get it out there and get the right people behind them. And it's not hard to do, but it takes some work to be able to do those kinds of things.
Patrick, that was my interview. Yeah. With Hadi.